Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. First thing I want to do is I want to congratulate everybody who has made it to this training. There are more people who have heard about it, less people who actually showed up, less people who are actually going to make it to the end, and even less people who actually is going to take action, right? And so what I want to point out to you guys is that even if you get this information is going to take you guys to a new level, right? You're going to be really blown away. You're going to wish you had this information yesterday, a year ago, 2 years ago. However, if you do not implement any of the things that I'm getting ready to show you, it's just information and you've just wasted 20, 30 minutes of your day. Don't do that. I'm going to show you guys step by step on how to buy the exact vehicles from private buyers, the exact ones that you want. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it from A to Z, but you have to do the work. You just have to. If you don't, you're wasting your time. And this is nothing but information. So one of the things I want you guys to understand is why Google Ads. Well, let me take a step back. There are many different ways you can skin the cat, right? There's different mechanisms. They do different things. I promise you, Google Ads is the only thing I want you guys to think about when it comes to buying from private buyers, right? Generating leads from private buyers. Google Ads is the mechanism. And then I'm going to show you guys, or again, like I said, I'm going to show you guys how to set this up from A to Z. So before we get into this, I want you guys to get more of an understanding of what I did before I actually got into this position where I'm training you on these things right now. And the reason why is because I want you to get context on how I view the solution. So if someone walks up to me and says, "Hey, Ricky, I want to catch more fish," the first thing I should ask them, well, is what type of fish are you trying to catch? Right? I don't know. Okay, well, come back to me tomorrow. What the type of fish you actually want to catch? Well, tomorrow rolls around. Hey, this is the fish I want to catch. They call it a trout. Okay, great. Well, let's go fishing. We'll be out tomorrow. Hey, why does it matter what type of fish I want to catch? Well, let me tell you why. You're trying to catch a trout. You're going to be in a total different area than you would be if you're trying to catch a catfish, right? The mechanism is different. You go from regular fishing to fly fishing, right? So a lot of people can help you guys generate leads for private buyers, right? But are those the fish that you actually want to deal with? Are those the vehicles that you actually want to deal with, right? It matters how you actually go about to get that solution. And these experiences should help you understand that I have just as much of an understanding of what you want just as much of an understanding of what you want as much as you do, right? So this right here this is actually a picture of me with the first customer I ever had in the car business. This is like 3 days before I actually started. I remember they cut my tie and everything. Very exciting moment. 7 months later, this is a mentor of mine who was my manager that was going to a different store. I went in and filled his position. And so for the first time, I'm managing, a sales team of 12, 14 people. We're a volume dealership. We're pushing 300 units a month. So 70, 80 ups on the weekend, that's normal. And so I am now responsible for understanding what we need to have in our inventory, what type of dealer trades that we're going to be doing, um, the process from step, A to Z on how our process works. So we make sure that we're carring these customers up on the right vehicle. If they can only afford $20,000, $25,000, there should be no reason we're carring them up on a 50, 60, $70,000 vehicle. Right. And so now I'm having to manage salespeople and duplicate my knowledge in that. Not too long after that, I received my certification from Berkshire Hathaway for F&I training. And so now think about this. I'm looking at this through a new lens. So this is why I'm showing you guys all of this, because as a finance manager, I know what type of vehicles I want to deal with. Anything over 100, 125,000 miles, I start getting more steps. My options for banks start to limit, right? And I know that if I just get a vehicle that's 100,000 miles and less, and 80% of my deals are coming from finance, that's where I want to be at. Also, may not want to have the older vehicles. It's harder to get those deals bought if 80% of our deals are financed. So, and there's a lot more other things that roll into it. So that's why I'm showing you guys that, because I want you guys to understand that the way I view the solution is different from someone else, right? I know the exact fish you guys are trying to look for, the exact fish that's going to work for your dealership. Now, again, if you're buy here, pay here, that's going to vary. But you got to understand the regular person or the regular vendor who is stating that they can help you has never sold a vehicle in their life. They've never been on the floor. They don't know how to understand what type of vehicles they should be in. They don't understand loan to value. They don't understand that you can't just go to the bank and say, hey, I want to get a loan on this vehicle that's 25 miles or 25 years old with 200,000 miles, right? They don't know these things. So how can they help you catch the right fish without that context? So if we go into consumer criteria, there's really only one that I actually check off as a criteria that I need from the consumer itself, a private owner, just to have a motivation to sell, right? We want to deal with people who want to sell the vehicle. We're not trying to deal with people who are just trying to get numbers, right? So motivated to sell, that is the only criteria I need from the consumer. The vehicle criteria, there's a little bit more that is involved in that. So number one, it has to be a profit. Whatever you're going to retail this vehicle for, you got to make sure that you can actually get that retail price and that there is still a profit in the deal. That's part of the criteria. Now, turnaround time. If you can turn this vehicle and if you can turn, most of your inventory, or if you were to fill your inventory up with this vehicle, you know that you can turn 90% of this in 30 days, right? So that's the type of vehicle that we're looking for. Again, we kind of spoke on this a little bit, but I want to keep my mileage. If I am financed, if these customers, 80% of my customers are financing vehicles from us and we're doing outside lending, I want to make sure that I have a look at the mileage of the vehicles that I'm getting. If I get something with 150,000 miles, it's going to be extremely hard to get that deal bought if this car is not an 800 bullet, right? And so I want to keep an eye on the mileage that I'm getting. Reconditioning costs. We don't want to fix engines. We don't want to fix transmissions. We're not putting new axles in these vehicles. We want to keep and maintain low reconditioning costs because that's going to allow us to retail these vehicles at a price we know we can get retail for it and still keep a profit. And then again, lendable. Is this deal lendable? Okay, listen, this is what we can get for retail, but retail is 180% of what the vehicle actually books out at. That's going to be kind of tough. And so again, these are all of the criteria or the criteria that I want to make sure that we're staying within. If you are a dealership that is purchasing vehicles and selling vehicles to people who are 80% finance vehicles. Now, if you're doing in-house financing, that's two totally different things. But I want you guys to kind of understand the context. Most people don't look at this when they're saying they can help you guys with this stuff. So I want you to understand that you don't want to just catch any fish. There's a criteria. Make sure you have a criteria, right? And again, just make sure it's fairly new. Anything that's like 20, 25 years old, just hard to get bought if you're financing the vehicle. Now, what I want you guys to get an understanding of is why you should be buying for private sellers. So over the last year or two, the message that has been pushed out, Carvana spent millions of dollars on this message, is we can do this entire process online. You can sell your car online. You can also buy your car online, right? So consumers are now conditioned that they can do this process online, which what happens from that is now you got more private owners entering the market. Demand has gone up. So they may not understand that in some markets, not all, there are still more people looking for vehicles there are still more people purchasing cars than there are actual cars in that market. And so what happens is the vehicles that people own are now worth more. And so you got to understand these people have been hearing stories from the neighbors, friends, family. Hey, I got a lot more than what I thought I was going to get for my car. I got a lot more than what I thought I was going to get for my car. I'm actually happy with the number I got from the dealership. Okay. All of that buzz, all of that social proof now enters more people into the market because now they're looking at it like, oh, inflation, duh. Now my car's worth a little bit more. And so now you have more private buyers entering in the market. These are first party connections. So the mechanism that you're going to use is different from the auction, right? So there's not people bidding. You are the only person having a conversation with this lead. Okay, so that's crucial. And so now what I want to jump into is I want to jump into why Google Ads. Why is Google Ads the mechanism out of all the different mechanisms? So again, I'll give you an example. You can put up a sign outside of your dealership. You can go on your website and put up a banner saying we buy cars. And you can run Facebook ads saying we buy cars. You can also do Google ads saying we buy cars. I mean, so there's different mechanisms that you can use. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you why Google ads is the only mechanism that you need to pay attention to. Everything else, you can just forget about it. So I want to give you guys more of a, I want to start this with a story that most people probably don't know. Before I actually started in retail selling cars, right, I was actually a diesel technician for a while. And so I remember a year in it, my back, just for whatever reason, kind of gave out. When I was sitting in the car, I couldn't, I couldn't really bend it. And the problem was I was rolling on concrete all day long, right? So if you look at this little graphic here, this is what we call the buyer's journey. So you got the awareness stage, consideration, and decision. At the time, I had a problem that I finally understood after a week. It wasn't going to go away. It wasn't just a one-off thing that I now have to solve. And so now I have to consider the solutions to help me fix my back, but I got to understand what's going on. And so what I'm doing is now I'm going on the internet. I'm typing in, what is this? What are the different solutions, right? And then I enter the consideration phase. So now I'm thinking about, okay, maybe I should go get a creeper. A creeper is something that you lay on. It has wheels on it. You can roll underneath, so you're not just rolling on the concrete. Now I'm thinking about a chiropractor. Another consideration that I can make is just getting out of the business as a whole, right? Most of the people I was working with, they were missing fingers, have arthritis. You can tell that their body is beat down after being in this field for so long. So getting out of the field was a consideration. And what I ended up doing is researching all of those different considerations and weighing them up together. And then I made a decision, and that decision was, number one, get a creeper. Number two, go to the chiropractor, kind of get him an adjustment. Number three was get a massage, every now and then. And then number four was eventually get out of the business, right? Because I know I didn't want to turn my body down. And so that is the journey that everyone takes. And the example of the private owners that you guys want to buy vehicles from, you got to understand their awareness stage is, and I'm just giving you guys an example here. Hey, my lease is up in 6 months. I don't know if I'm supposed to get it back to the dealership. I don't know, who do I get to look at the vehicle, inspect the vehicle. I know if there's any damage that I need to pay for that, right? So who is going to look at the vehicle to clear that? So there's a lot of questions that they're having going on in their mind, again, especially if they're a first-time leasee. And so what they do is they go right to Google and they type in what to do when my lease ends, right? And in this section, this is where you guys come in and make them solution aware. This is the private buyer that doesn't know that they're a private buyer yet, right? Because they don't know what they should be considering. And so this is where you show up on the internet based upon the keywords that they put in. And I'm just kind of making this up as you go. Obviously, buying a lease is much more complicated, especially if you're not the original manufacturer. You have to get a lease buyout. You got to buy the lease buyout and then buy the car. There's a lot of different things you got to do to get this. So, but I just want you guys to follow me here. So you show up and you say, did you know that you can not only trade in your lease or not only give your lease back at the end of the 6 months, but you can actually trade it in or sell it to us? And how the market is, you will actually probably have your vehicle worth more than what you actually owe, which means we're going to give you guys a check back more than likely. And so now they get this information and considering this. I can get a lease back, get no credit, go in to buy another car. And because vehicles have now been inflated, they don't have any discounts on this vehicle. I'm going to get less of a vehicle than I'm giving back, and my payment's going to be higher. Or I can trade in the vehicle or sell it outright, take the cash and apply it to my next vehicle so that I can beat that delta and get the same vehicle at even a better price or at even a better or lower payment, but still keep the same equipment that I had on my last vehicle, right? So if you show up in the consideration phase, this will allow you guys to be the only person that they talk to. You get in front of them before they actually start to make a decision. Think about this for a second. If in their head they found out that they can sell their vehicle and someone can buy their lease, and they didn't find out from you, what they're going to do is they're going to go to Carvana, they're going to go to CarMax, they're going to go to all these different vendors and they're going to shop, and they're just going to shop these numbers, right? And then by the time they get to you, you're in a bid. What you want to do is you want to get them and actually raise their awareness of the solution before anyone else does, so that you can control the situation. And then you can actually give them a number. Let's just say their vehicle's worth 25, they owe 19, you can give them 23, but because they're not shopping, they don't know that they could get 2-3 grand more. However, they do understand they're getting a check, which is exactly what we promised that we can deliver to them, right? Which is a much better solution than what? Just handing the keys away and going into another vehicle and paying more for less of a car. Okay. So that's why Google Ads is the only mechanism you can use, because the keywords when someone becomes aware of a problem, the first thing that they do is they go on Google. They don't go on social media looking for a vehicle. Let's just say I need to upgrade my vehicle into an SUV. I'm not going to go on Facebook. I'm going to go on Google and I'm going to research different SUVs. So they use Google, the search engine, to type in these questions to get answers to get information, or type in these keywords to get information. And based on those keywords, that's like the pond, right? Who do I want? What type of fish do I want? I want a trout. So these are the type of keywords that I should be showing up for. And this is what I should be offering them, right? And when you do that together and you connect it and you do it very well, this is where you get leads from private owners who are the fish you want, where you're not in a bidding war with everyone else. And you're the only person that they're thinking about because you raise their awareness. So it's literally an easy deal, and they're motivated to sell. That's why it's important that you guys use Google Ads. Now, here's a bird's eye view of how it actually works, so that you guys can get a better understanding. There's really 3 categories to this. You got a campaign, ad set, and then the actual ad. So the campaign is the objective. When you go inside of Google Ads, you're going to tell Google Ads the objective that you want. Do you want more video views? Do you want to generate more leads? The prompt that you want to use is generate more leads, okay? Now, the ad set this is where you select the keywords that you want to use. Remember, all fish are not created equal. If you're looking for trout, you're not going to use the keywords that you would use to catch catfish. The bait's going to be different, right? And so this is where you guys have to have the right keywords. This is where you go into the keyword planner. So it's called a Google Keyword Planner, and you research these keywords. But if you're smart, you'll stay to the end. I'll show you guys how to get the same exact keywords that we use, so you can negate all of the R&D, research and development, to get and actually find and spend the money to find the right keywords, right? We'll give it all to you from our successful campaigns. And then you'll set a budget to it. Okay. That's all you do in the ad set. And then the ad is what they see physically, right? So if I'm a leasee, I want to find out what are my options at the end of my lease, who's going to pick up the car, who's going to evaluate it. And I go and type in some keywords that revolve around me getting that information. You guys show up, you guys say, hey, did you know that you can trade in your lease and probably get a check back if you sell it outright to us? Or if you trade it in, you can apply that credit to your new vehicle because of inflation, help you keep your payment down lower, and keep you the same and keep the same type of equipment that you got on your last vehicle. Oh, I never knew that was it. I never knew that was a thing. I thought I was just giving them the keys back, right? And so the ad placement is what they physically see, and this is where they click and go over to your website and turn it into a lead. Now, here are some of the results. When you do it right, here are some of the results that you guys will be producing, which is not out of the norm. So in this situation, you got close to 70 conversions. Regular cost is about $7 per conversion. The conversion rate, which is directly contributed from the offer. What are we offering these people, right? So that is what actually gets people to give you their information. Because if your offer isn't anything that they care, if you just put up, get a number for your vehicle in 30 seconds, like everyone else is doing, you're not going to convert 4 out of every 10 like how we did, right? For every 10 clicks, we're converting 4, right? Think about it. Somebody's website right now, or most dealers, a lot of dealers that I know personally, before we start working with them, their website is converting at 1-2%, right? So what that means is less than 1 person out of every 10 people, less than 1 person is actually converted, right? In this situation, out of every 10 people who visit the landing page, 4 of them convert. That is mainly because of the offer that we're giving them, right? And so you have to make sure that you create a good offer. If you're smart, you go to the end of this training where I show you, and I will not show you, but I actually give you the same offer that we're using so you can duplicate these results. But anyway, 4 out of every people actually, close to 4 out of every 10 people that come to our website, or 10 out of every 4 people, sorry, out of every 10 people, 4 of them actually convert into a lead, we spent $500 total. And these are kind of the results that we got from that. So the vehicles that they bought from that are 4 total low miles vehicles. And if you just do the math on it, they spent $500 to produce 70 leads, right? Those 70 leads produce 4 buys. So what that really means is we spent $125 to buy 4 vehicles. Okay, so for every 125 that we spend, we buy 4 vehicles. And so this is where you sit down and you just do the math. Okay, so if I want to buy 50 vehicles, I know I'm going to spend 125 per vehicle that I buy. That means that I need to invest $6,250 into this. And when you do that, let's just say you turn 90% of the 50 vehicles, and at the bare minimum, you're making $1,000 per round. That's $45,000. When you look at the total investment that you put in, $6,250, you're making $45,000 in profit, 7x return in 30 days. I don't know where you can get that type of money, not in 30 days. If you think about a treasury bond right now, even with inflation, you're only getting 5% of your money. You're getting 7x% of your money, or 7 times the return on your money. That's within 30 days. And so one thing I do want to point out with that, because we are talking about scale, there is a point where you may reach diminishing returns. So there is a good, bad, and ugly to this. So depending on your market, if you know, hey, my acquisition cost is $125. For every $125 that I spend, I'm going to buy a vehicle. Okay. Well, a lot of the times you would like to put in, okay, I want 50 vehicles as a goal. And you put in 50, that means I got to spend $6,000, close to $6,200. Okay. Well, there are some times where, hey, I want to spend $25,000 so that I can get 200 leads. There are times when you spend too much, you get a diminishing return, meaning, hey, it's not $125 in acquisition anymore. It's more like 500 or 1,000, right? So there is a sweet spot that you want to play within, okay? Depending on your market. The larger the market, the more money you can spend and maintain that $125 rate. In smaller markets, as you peak volume, like let's just say you're in a small town, okay? And you want to say, hey, I'm going to spend $50,000 and I want to get 600 leads, or $50,000 and I want to buy 600 vehicles. Okay. Well, there's not 600 vehicles in your actual town. There's not 600 vehicles, private owners in that market in your town. So if you were to spend that money, a lot of that money will go to waste. However, the sweet spot for you may be 25, 30 a month, right? You can buy 25, 30 a month and maintain that $125 an hour rate. Anything else above that, you start to get diminishing returns. So you just got to as you're scaling, you got to look and make sure that you're maintaining that acquisition number, and then you'll get a feel for how much you can spend and how much you can't spend. So I do want to go over who this is for, because that's a big question. So number one, doesn't matter if you're a franchise dealership, independent dealership, buy here, pay here, luxury, exotic, volume dealerships, this is for you. Who this is not for, if you're not willing to invest $2,000 to $5,000. And this is optional, but I like to put this in here, commercial auto dealerships. So if you guys are selling commercial vehicles, this has not been tested on commercial vehicles. So it's probably not for commercial vehicles. However, you never know, right? I just know on retail, for non-commercial vehicles, this works perfectly. So now I want to give you guys the step-by-step setup on how to get this started from A to Z. And here's the bird's eye view. So number one, you got to set up your Google Ads campaign. That's the first thing you guys got to do. And the first thing you want to do is just sign into your Google Ads account. If you don't have a Google Ads account, then you create one. And so to sign in, you just type in ads.google.com, sign into your account, get everything set up. And then what you want to do is you want to go to the Google Keyword Planner. Okay, so write this down, Google Keyword Planner. And this is where you want to do research around the keywords. You want to make sure you have enough volume, and you want to make sure you pick keywords that don't have a lot of competition, so it doesn't cost you as much, right? You can keep your costs down. If you're smart, you'll wait to the end. I'll show you guys how to get the keywords that we already filter out. Right after that, this is where you create the campaign. So if you're going back to our last slide, I kind of gave you a breakdown of the categories. You got the campaign, you got the asset, and you have the ads. This is where you're doing all of that. And then you want to save your draft. Now, after you save your draft, you want to set up your landing page. Okay. If you're smart, you wait to the end. I'll show you guys how to download the landing page that we already have. You just swap out the branding. It already has the offer on there, so you don't have to worry about having low conversion rates. We've kind of already ironed all that out. Or you can go the hard way. You can actually create a lead form, pick a provider that you want to use. If you want to use your website provider to create this landing page on, get that made. And then you want to also design a great offer, right? Again, we already have the offer tested, proven. Wait to the end. I'll show you guys how to get that. After that, you just want to make sure everything's connected to your CRM, right? So forward all your leads to your new leads email address account, whatever that is. Your CRM provider should provide you the email address. Get that all set up. Manually update your inventory. Right after that, you want to press play, get started on that. Sorry, I want to take that back. Manually update your inventory shouldn't be there. Don't pay attention to that. Just omit that. But once you got that set up and you have the leads going to your email address, go ahead and press play. Turn everything on. So turn on your ads. So the reason why you had to save it as a draft is because you had to get the landing page set up, and then you get a URL. Put that URL inside the ads, get that started. Make sure you double check all of your moving parts, right? So make sure that, run through the funnel. So make sure that you actually fill out the form and make sure it goes into your CRM. Make sure that any emails you got sending out are being sent out. And then once you got that, you connect with the buyers from these leads, and then you start buying vehicles, right? And if you're using the offer that we're using, these people are looking for you. You're not necessarily looking for them. So they're following up with you guys, making it so that you guys don't have to spend a ton of time chasing down leads, because you don't want to be chasing leads either. It's just adding more time. These are leads that are actually waiting on you to follow up with them. They're actually prompting you to follow up with them, right? So it makes everything so much easier. So how to get all the resources? Go ahead and schedule a free setup call with me. I'll give you access to, again, the landing page. And on that landing page, you're going to have the offer. You just swap out your branding. So you can just duplicate our offer that we already know that works. You get access to all of our successful keywords. And then I'll give you a fast consultation to make sure that everything that you have set up is all connected and ready to roll. So just kind of making sure I get you off the ground. And so depending on where you're watching this, the links to schedule that appointment should be somewhere on this page. Go ahead and schedule that. When you guys get signed up, again, you guys are going to get all the free resources. Plus, I'm going to put my time to make sure that you got everything set up, because there can be some questions. So again, I appreciate everybody showing up for this training. Hopefully you found some value from this. And I look forward to talking to you guys and helping a lot of you dealers set up these campaigns with you on the phone. Talk soon. Take care.